All right, what's up everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the WEN electric pressure washer. I just picked this thing up on Amazon for $80. So it comes in rated at 2000 PSI, 1.6 GPM. If it gets anything near those numbers, guys, at $80, this might be the best value pressure washer that I've ever reviewed. But we're gonna go ahead and take a look and see exactly what this thing can do. We're gonna unbox it, we're gonna check out all the components that it comes with. We're gonna hook up a pressure gauge to it and test the actual usable PSI. And we'll also do a GPM test so we actually know the real numbers that you're gonna be living with while using this thing. So if you are interested in everything car detailing, pressure washer reviews, car detailing product reviews, tips and tricks, all that kind of good stuff, please consider subscribing down below. I really appreciate it. All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump into this thing. Alrighty, guys, so here we are. As I said, this thing lists itself at 2000 PSI, 1.6 GPM. Who knows, but we're gonna find out, and let's go ahead and unbox this, see what kind of components it comes with, see what kind of quality it has in those components. Typically, I don't like the hoses and things like that it comes with. I'll give you some recommendations on that as well as we go through, but let's just go ahead and get this guy unboxed first and foremost. Let me just go ahead and pull everything out and then we'll walk through it. Okay guys, so here is the unit itself. Right off the bat, let's just look at the unit and see what I like and don't like about it. So right off the bat, guys, on the front, I don't know if this is the front or the back. The way the logos are laid down, it makes me think it's the front, but this is basically your connection point for your hose right off the front of it. And then the connection point where the pressure washer hose comes from is on the opposite side. I always prefer that because that way, sometimes it's a piece in the front and then another piece in the front, and it just kind of gets the hoses and stuff tangled up. So I really like that it's on one side for each. We'll go ahead and flip it around. It's nice, it has this kind of built-in handle right on top, which is super cool. Basic toggle switch for on and off. Very nice and easy. And then we do have our hose connection point for the pressure washer hose itself. And this is an M22 by 14 millimeter fitting. So the reason I bring that up is because if you want to upgrade your hose down the road to the one that I personally recommend and love, you can do so without any adapter. It'll be a direct replacement. No worries there. So the power cord is a 35-foot power cord. I think actually on their website it says 36 feet or something, but basically 35 footer, same as all the others. It is a ground fault interrupt plug, so you don't have to worry about it shocking you. It'll reset itself and you just go over and reset and you're good to go. The hose, the pressure washer hose that it comes with, if I can, oh, it's right here, it lists it as 16.5 feet, which is very short, very short. Typically on most pressure washers in that $100 range, you typically get a 20 or a 25 foot hose, so 16.5 is very short. Also, quality of the hose is not the best. For sure, it's quite thin. Now, it doesn't kink as bad as many of the others that I've tested. Yeah, it does. It does. It kinks right there. And then let me get in close for you guys. So as you can see, it has kinked. And then when you just hold it, you can see the kink stays in the line. It's actually indented there. So basically what happens with that is as you're using the pressure washer, you're pulling the trigger and using it. And then when you let off the trigger, all that pressure builds back up in your hose. And with a kink like that, it creates a weak spot. So you're running the potential of blowouts down the road. Now, again, I recommend replacing this right off the bat because it's very short. So it's gonna be a headache trying to use it. The one I recommend is the Uberflex hose. I'm actually gonna be testing this unit with that to get the actual numbers. I'll explain why in a second, but I'll show you guys that hose down in a little bit when we go over that. Here is why we're going to be doing the testing for the pressure gauge and all that kind of stuff with the other hose. When I do the pressure gauge, it's a quick connection fitting. This hose has its own type of fitting that goes into the gun. And I do not like these. It's just not confidence inspiring at all. So basically, it's just a little hole, you put it in there and then you slide this little lever over and it locks it into place. It just doesn't seem very secure to me. So there it is. it's in. This one actually feels decent, but still I don't like it. Now it does have the trigger that it comes with. It does have a locking mechanism. It's just a little button down here. So you can use it and then you slide it over and now you can't. So just for storage and things like that, that works well. Also guys, I did go over the connection points on the pressure washer, but I did not cover the fact that they do give you an accessory little brass fitting that will fit over the water inlet. That's where your garden hose comes into. Now, one of the things, this is plastic, which isn't good, but they give you this. So all you really have to do is put this on one time and then you're never dealing with screwing it on and off. So the fact that it's plastic is not a big deal at all. It's good to go. And then this part screws into your hose. So that's all good. Back to the pressure washer wand. Now they do give you the little wand here. There's an extension and it's not my favorite. I usually like a quick connect there. This is technically a quick connection, but it's just not the most robust type. So you just push it in and then twist it. It locks into place. The nozzle itself has adjustments. So as you can see, you can't change out the tips. It's all just by adjustment. So you can go from a 0 degree to, I think on the website it showed 60 degrees. So there's that. That's cool. I actually like that feature, having it all there and not having to switch between tips. But this gun's not the best. And again, you have to use this weird connection point for the hose, so I don't like that. But we will test this thing with all like this just to get my opinion on it. I won't be able to test the actual numbers, but just to kind of get my opinion. Now, it also does come with a little foam blaster. This is one of those things you can fill up with soap and then just screw it back in, and then you can blast out soapy water, essentially. It's not like a full-blown foam cannon, which is what I always recommend. I'll have a couple linked down below for you guys. But this is the same deal. You have to take the extension off the gun, and then this goes in, and you're good to go. You can use it, take it off, switch back over to this, and you're back to work. So that's it, guys. Let me try and think of anything else here. That's pretty much it. It's pretty standard. The little casing of the unit itself is cool. It looks like a little radio, right? Kind of. Nice handle on top. Feels good. The plastic feels like it's good quality. Has this nice little base to it, so it should stand up nicely for you. Does not have any wheels or anything like that, and no storage for any of the components. But at this price range, none of them really do. So that's not anything bad against this unit at all. So let's go ahead and I'll get this thing plugged in, and we'll test it out as is just to get my opinion, and then we'll jump into the actual numbers. I'll switch over to my Uberflex hose and we'll get the actual numbers so we know exactly how this thing really performs. Okay guys, so here we are. I've got the machine plugged in and all set up. It's plugged into the wall. I'm gonna grab my phone. We're gonna be doing a decibel reading on it to see how loud it is, so we can get an idea. Typically, most electric pressure washers in this price point especially kind of run in that 80 to 85 decibels range. So we'll test that and see. I have the water hooked up to it. I'm actually gonna pull the trigger on this thing for a little bit right now, purge all of the air out of the line so we don't get any kind of spurting and things like that, and then we'll be good to go. All right, a couple things to note just from that 2 seconds of running this thing. The trigger on this gun is not super comfortable. It kind of makes my wrist kind of keel over, not super comfortable. And then the grip back here is really wide as well. So just not the most comfortable thing. It'll get the job done. Don't get me wrong. It's just not the most comfortable. All right, let me go grab my phone and we'll do a decibel reading. Okay guys, so here is the little app that I have, and ambient noise, just like from not talking or anything, usually is in around the 50 range. Oh, a car just started up outside, so we're at 65, but still. Okay, let's go ahead and turn the machine on. Now, I don't know if this thing has the total stop system or not, meaning where once it builds pressure, it goes quiet. We'll find out. Most of them do in this price point and category. So let's see. It absolutely does. It built pressure very, very quickly, and it seems pretty quiet. So I typically run my decibel reading right about here. So let me go ahead and do that for you guys. 82 decibels, very, very respectable there. It's actually a little bit quieter than some of the other units. Sounds really good. Pressure feels okay. It's not crazy. There's no way it's 2000 PSI unless you're running it like hitting something, whoops, hitting something at 0 degree. Then yeah, that hurts. So, but if you're actually using the pressure washer, you're typically using it between 50 and 40 degrees. Most other pressure washers you're changing between the tips. This one, it's here, but again, we'll test that down the road. One thing I did want to mention is here is the little soap dispenser. We're going to connect this thing and show you guys how it works, or it doesn't work, I don't know. I have about 12 ounces of pure soap in here right now. So we'll give it a minute and let it just run through and see. So I'm going to zoom you guys in on the van and we'll check it out. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and try this out. Okay, couple things to note. It's giving a decent amount of soapy water. Like it's just not thick, dry foam like I like. It's very, very wet, but it's getting coverage. It's getting some coverage. So, however, the machine doesn't seem to like it. You can hear it. It almost seems to want to bog down a little bit. That actually performed better than the first time, but yeah, not bad. So far, I'm very impressed with the unit. Sound-wise, it sounds like it's running very, very efficient. Performance-wise, we're going to find out here in a second. So I'm actually going to take off this hose now, and we'll switch over to the other one so we can actually run the actual number tests and see where we're at. Here is the UberFlex hose that I've been telling you about. This is the thing that I absolutely love. It costs about $1 a foot. It's an M22 by 14 millimeter connection point, so direct replacement, you can just plug it straight in. I do have quick connects on mine, which I prefer. I'll have those linked down below as well. But the reason I like this thing, guys, it's 50 feet long, so you're not having to move your pressure washer around, right? You can get around the car, you can get around your house, cleaning up your yard, all that kind of good stuff without having to move your pressure washer. Next thing, it is super pliable, super flexible, and it does not kink. As you can see, does not kink. Now, you can get it to fold over on itself eventually, but even once it does, it snaps right back. There's no memory to it, like there's no kink in the line. Just the best pressure washer hose that I've dealt with. I use these every day in my professional car detailing business. They're fantastic. They're fantastic. So now from there, I'm going to be running my pressure gauge into the quick connection point, into my aftermarket pressure washer wand. This is one that I really, really love as well. This will be linked down in the description for you guys also. Okay, now let's talk power. When we're testing these things, now as you can see, this pressure washer wand requires tips, right? That's usually how they operate. So I have a Ryobi tip that's the smallest orifice size, which is the actual little hole that the water passes through. That, on that Ryobi nozzle, it's the smallest one that I've been able to find. And the smaller that nozzle, the higher PSI you're gonna get. The lower GPM, but the higher PSI. So we'll check out a couple different ones. Again, I'm not able to test it without switching over to this, so I apologize. But this is what you're gonna be really living with this machine. So we're gonna go ahead and test that. Let me go ahead and plug this hose in and we'll get started. Okay, now I'm gonna be trying out this Ryobi nozzle, which I think is about a 1.75 orifice opening. And then we'll go up to a 2.5 and test and see what we kind of get, and we'll test the GPM against that as well. This is the smallest orifice nozzle I have. So we're gonna test this one first and see what the max PSI we're gonna be able to get out of this machine is. Now, a lot of people wonder, well, use a 0 degree or a 40 degree, it's gonna change it. Technically, yes, right? From here, if you're using a 0 degree, it's gonna be more powerful on your hand versus a 40 degree that disperses out and you're not gonna feel it as much. However, we're testing the pressure at this point, so the actual pressure that it's going through, so that is how we'll know where we are at. Okay guys, so I'm gonna move you over so that you can actually, I'm gonna try and show you the gauge as I'm actually testing this. And here we go. Do you hear that? So I'm getting just about 1800 PSI, but this motor apparently is not designed for this small of a tip. That's why it's tripping up. It'll probably work again. You see? So with that, we are running at 14.5 amps, but the bad news is, guys, I'm not going to be able to test this on the GPM because it's not going to run for a minute without cutting out like that. But it is getting 1800 PSI, which is a great number, but it's not designed for it, so we can't test it with this. The next smallest size I have is the 2.5 on the orifice, so I will go ahead and grab one of those. That's probably going to be our best bet. We'll test that, we'll test the GPM on that, and go from there. Okay, so here you go. This is a 2.5 orifice nozzle. This is a 25-degree nozzle, but again, that doesn't matter when you're actually looking at the actual PSI that's coming through the gun. Again, from here, a 0 degree to a 40 degree, yeah, you're gonna feel a difference, but of the actual pressure that the unit is creating, this is where we're gonna get an accurate reading. So here we go, 2.5. Okay, so, yeah, this thing's not getting 2000 PSI, it's not possible. So right now we're getting 1100 PSI with this tip. Now, if you're buying this to detail cars or wash your car, 1100 is what I prefer to operate at, as long as the GPM is high enough. Anything from really 1.4, 1.375 and up is okay. You're gonna be able to get the job done. The higher GPM, the better. It just makes it easier to rinse the vehicle and all that kind of stuff. But at 80 bucks, this thing might be worth, you know, putting up with a little bit lower GPM. So here you go, here's your proof. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys. There you go. So there you are, 1100 PSI. Now I do have larger orifice nozzles as well. I'm not gonna go to those because I don't wanna drop this thing under 1100 PSI because then it just starts getting unusable in the PSI range. So we're gonna go ahead and test this one. And I'll try. No, I'm not gonna try. I was gonna try and test the GPM with the Ryobi nozzle, but because it's not usable because the thing is gonna cut out on you, so I'm not even gonna do that. 2.5 seems to be the sweet spot. It's getting good PSI for, at least for car detailing around the house. Keep that other nozzle on there. You can go to a 0 and all that kind of stuff. Or actually, I'll link these down below for you. You can get a 2.5 sized orifice and it'll give you the full range of nozzles. You get a 0, 15, 25, and a 40. So those will be linked down in the description for you guys as well. Now let's go ahead and grab my bucket. We're gonna do our GPM test. Basically, I'll stick it in the bucket, run it for 1 minute, measure it out at the end of the minute, and we know what the actual flow is. Okay guys, here's my trusty little Home Depot measuring bucket. So basically you have the bucket, cut a hole in the top, sits in there like that, stick it in there, run it for 1 minute, bingo bango, we'll know what the GPM is. At least with that nozzle. Okay guys, so I've got my stopwatch ready, stick the trigger into the bucket, and here we go. Okay guys, so that's 1 minute. Water flow's not, I don't know, let's see. Doesn't seem like it's anything crazy. Let me let that water settle, but it basically looks like we're running approximately 5.5 quarts. Let me let that settle, and then I'll be able to tell more accurately. Okay guys, so it's actually settled in a little bit above 5.5 quarts. Probably 5.6 quarts, something like that. Maybe slightly over. So 5.6 quarts in gallons is 1.4 gallons per minute. So that's not bad, guys. That's really not bad at all. A lot of the other pressure washers I've tested in this range will get around that 1100 PSI at 1.375. This is getting a bit more, 1.4 for sure, maybe even a little bit higher than that. So if you're gonna be using this, you're buying something specifically to detail cars, and you want to do it on a budget. that's a great choice. Now, longevity, I don't know. This is my first time ever playing with this thing, so I don't know how long it's gonna last. But like I said, you can buy it on Amazon. It comes with a warranty. You buy it on Amazon if something happens to it. It's usually pretty easy to send it back. Just use it a bunch in the beginning. Make sure there's not any weird stuff going on with it. You definitely gonna want to upgrade the hose, but you're gonna basically want to upgrade the hose and gun on any pressure washer that you're using. So, you know, that's not really a factor. You know, you're gonna want to do that regardless. With those numbers, 1.4 gallons per minute, 1100 PSI, it's gonna work perfectly with a foam cannon. You're gonna get good results. Just for fun, actually, I'll go ahead and do that right now. All right, guys, here's the foam cannon test. I am using an MJJC Foam Cannon Pro. This is my favorite foam cannon. It gets the most amount of foam. Other ones will work. I'll link down in the description of Amazon Basics. I also like that one a lot. If you Google Amazon Basics Foam Cannon review, I did a review on that, you can look that up. But basically, if you're using that one, you just want to change it out to the orifice inside to 1.1, then it works perfect. This still gets the most though. Here we go. So there you go, guys. Let me zoom you in real quick. It's super, super thick foam. So all good there. This machine works perfectly for that. I am using some Max Shine's Ultra Foaming Wash. I think it's what it's called. That is it, guys. I hope that helps you. I had seen this unit a lot on Amazon. I always wondered. Now the hose, the pressure washer one, the hose, all that kind of stuff that they give you is pretty bad. And does it get 2,000 PSI? I don't see any way it gets 2,000 PSI. So no. 1.6 GPM? Yeah, probably. If you run it with, you know, with no nozzle and just pump it in there, I'm sure it probably gets 1.6 GPM. It's just that's not usable, right? Because you're not going to have any pressure at that point, and you might as well just be using a garden hose. So, but anyways, guys, 1,100 PSI, 1.4 GPM, decent for 80 bucks. You really can't go wrong. That's an incredible deal. And then you factor in the hose at 50 bucks, 130. Yeah, you can be all in. You can be all in for 150 bucks and have a unit that's getting good numbers. So not bad at all. I hope that helps you guys. Please make sure to like the video. That always helps the algorithm so more people can find the channel. Thank you very much. And then please make sure you're subscribed. Turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming videos. We'll see you on the next one.